Carolina.
Okay.
No. Okay. So you just talk a little bit. You talked a little bit about the importance of removing blight from these neighborhoods. But what does this mean to the people of the community who have to live in this?
I think that for decades, folks have been waiting to see this happen. They've been calling, they've been petitioning, and today we've been able to see some change happen. I mean, as we speak right now, we're overseeing a demolition happening, and I think that speaks volumes. I think that it speaks volumes. These are the first, blighted structures in this neighborhood to be demolished in over 20 years. That means something, and I want folks to understand that the city is so intentional on getting this city back on track where blight is concerned. These neighborhoods should not have been in this position in the first place, and we're getting ourselves in a position now to where we are able to turn back the promise to the people who love this neighborhood. And certainly it's a bright day for the city.
And the Mayor Pro Tem mentioned earlier that there will be new structures, new homes that are planning on going up. What is that going to mean for these communities as well that have been so run down by blight?
Yeah, the thing is, we are making sure that our neighborhoods are ready to go for people who can afford to live here. And we're going to make it accessible for people, regardless of what side of town you come from, regardless of how much money you make. We're doing this in a way that won't push anyone out. The Blight Ordinance does not apply to occupied structures, only vacant structures and vacant commercial property. We are moving this city into a direction to where if you need affordable housing, you can get it in neighborhoods that are safe, in neighborhoods that are affordable. And this is the first step. And here's the thing, in any direction that you go into in my district, you see blight. And so I'm extremely excited because residents from the top of my district to the bottom of my district have been calling me since January about this. And I really want them to see that we've made progress in such short time. The road hasn't been easy, but we're here now. So we all have something to celebrate.
And just building off that, you've been talking about this since your campaign. This is something that you campaigned on, so this has been very important to you. And they have been talking about it for a very long time, but you get to be on the commission that sees it happen. What does that mean to you?
Well, I announced my campaign in front of a blighted house. My number one campaign item was removing blight in our communities. And so being able to be on the commission when this happens, being on the Blight Task Force, working with the administrator's office, being able to help draft the ordinance, it's an amazing feeling. Not because it's something that I've, promised the constituents, but because folks have been waiting for this. When I was campaigning, I was in a parade, and a man grabbed me by the arm and pointed out a blighted structure. I want him to see this and say, you know what? The city means business. The city is ready to move forward. And that's what's so important. Not so much the fact that, we were involved, but the fact of the matter is that we're moving in the right direction. And people should take that, and people should be proud of it, because I certainly am.
Speaking of moving in the right direction, I believe you were talking about earlier about taxes and stuff like that, and about other people owning these properties from out of state and stuff, that, they just pay the taxes and just kind of move on. What are we going to do to, prevent this kind of thing? Because a lot of people just want to own property in Augusta, and then they let it just go to blight. And just to say that they have property and their family owned it for, 100 years or however long, 50 years, and they just want to say that maybe from New York. I see a lot of people from New York and other places. What are we going to do about that kind of thing?
I want people to know who fall into that category that you will not hold up these neighborhoods. You will not hold these neighborhoods hostage for decades like you've been doing. We have a responsibility to make sure that the kids who live here have a safe environment to live in, that the adults who bought these homes and decided to live here have a nice, safe place to live. We have to make sure that folks understand that you cannot just buy property and sit on it anymore in the city of Augusta. That we are intentional about making sure that these neighborhoods are vibrant and that folks have safe places to live. That's the least that we can do, and this ordinance